Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Law Society holds awareness program on cancer. Commerce Department organizes extension lecture on Islamic banking and finance. Two-day conference on education reforms concludes. And Dean Students Welfare organizes a refreshment camp for devotees. Now the details of these events with your host Umar Malik. The Law Society of the University of Kashmir, in association with Cancer Society of Kashmir, supported by the NSS unit, organized a day-long awareness program on cancer prevention. Chairman Law Society Dr. Fareed Rafiqi in his inaugural remarks said that as responsible human beings, we need to take care of our living style so as to prevent this disease.
Lot of money is being spent for those things which are dreadful, which are injurious. Now take the example of junk foods. At the multinational level, at the international level, there are trillions of rupees being spent for creating these junk foods, for instance. This is nothing but creating the dreaded and poisonous substances, which one way or the other lead to these dreadful diseases like cancer, like HIV, AIDS, and like other things. So the basic point where a person can put a mark in this commercialized world, where the world is only after money. Unfortunately, the present world is ultimately governed by mammon worship. That is the worship of money. People ultimately try to thrive, try to survive, rather try to generate wealth over the miseries of others. And this one of the misery is the misery of the cancer. But unfortunately, less effort is being made at the national, or rather at the local level particularly, to create awareness as to how to prevent this disease effectively.
EMMRC faculty and program officer NSS Mr. Tariq Abdullah said that despite cancer being such a dangerous disease, there is unfortunately not much awareness in rural areas about it.
Because we all know that this disease is spreading very fast speed in this state of Jammu and Kashmir. And the problem is that we are not, because especially in our rural areas, they are not aware about certain things which could minimize this disease to a great extent. So the aim behind is to sensitize you so that you can take this message to different places, you make a small teams, groups, and visit some rural areas, semi-urban areas, and make your efforts, sensitize the public. Another important thing which we have assembled here is that we want to introduce you with one very good organization, that's Cancer Society of Kashmir.
Former principal of Islamia College of Science and Commerce and executive member at Cancer Society of Kashmir, Professor G.M. Untu, lamented that prevention of cancer comes to mind only when one is unfortunately affected by it.
The question of treatment of cancer comes only once one is suffering from this disease. The fact of the matter is that if it is preventable, for us, high or low, big or small, anybody, if it is preventable and people get aware of it. You see, willy-nilly people go for smoking, isn't it? For the sake of pleasure, maybe, or eat junk food, or for that matter have such habits. Let us take a vow that let us put our heads together and see how we can come out of it. We have evils more which invite trouble.
Dr. Nazir Ahmed Khan, oncologist at SKIMS and Secretary Cancer Society of Kashmir, said that burden of cancer is increasing, and in Kashmir, the district Srinagar is seeing spike in the rise of cancers.
Now, this is briefly about the cancer burden, which is emerging as a major health problem. So you cannot ignore it. It's a major health problem everywhere in the world as well as here. So in 2012, you can say that 14 million new cases were diagnosed and 8.2 million deaths. You can see here. And then in 2030, 21 million cases where there will be. This is predicted, and then this 13 million deaths. So in India, 70% of cases, which is very important, they present at an advanced stage. And in Kashmir, you see, 15 to 20 new cases get diagnosed every day, and that means 200 to 250 cases per year. And now, see, this is very important to see cancer on rise. In 2008, see, we have seen 2,391 cases, and just to go, the CPS goes up, and in 2017, it has doubled, 4,600. So you can see within 10 years, it has doubled. This is the message I want to say, that cancer is on rise, it's going on rising, and there is no district or no region or no town where you cannot see cancer. Cancer is seen almost in all the districts of Kashmir province, and this is the data. This is around 2008 to 17, we have seen 34,000 cases. This is the 34,000 cases, but majority are from district Srinagar. You just see Srinagar, followed by Anantnag and Baramulla, and less is followed. In Shupyan, we have seen the less number of patients.
Assistant Professor of Law Department Dr. Shaukat Ahmed conducted the proceedings of the function.
To educate you about this awareness program, as it's rightly mentioned there, that it is cancer prevention and early detection awareness program. It reminds me of one important, and that is prevention is better than cure.
On the occasion, EMMRC film on Cancer Society of Kashmir was screened.
This hard reality becomes even harder when one looks at the state of healthcare in Kashmir. Even smaller diseases can't be battled against.
An extension lecture on Sharia compliant in capital market and Islamic banking and finance was organized by the Department of Commerce. A former Harvard visiting fellow and professor of Rizvi Institute of Management and Research Studies, Mumbai, Dr. Sharik Nisar, delivered this extension lecture. He said that financial sectors are set up to mobilize finance and pass the same to entrepreneurs for the growth of nations.
See, the ultimate purpose of financial sector, how it operates is secondary. What is the purpose of financial sector? The main purpose for which financial sector is required is to mobilize saving and pass it on to those who need it for the economic growth and development of the country. That is true for any financial system. Now, that is the primary purpose. Ability to mobilize as much as possible and then pass it on to the entrepreneurs and business class so that they can make use of that and economy flourishes, employment flourishes, and business grow. Now, to perform these functions, basically, three types of financial arrangements are there. Three kinds of financial institutions are observed. The most important in that is banking sector, which is termed as a financial intermediary because they mobilize from depositor and then pass it on to the borrower through various mechanisms. So they mobilize saving.
Dr. Sharik Nisar said that to make Islamic banking and finances thrive in any place, one needs to create a knowledge base. Adding a prepared human resource is the prerequisite for it. Convener of the program and faculty at the Department of Commerce, Professor Muhammad Shafi, while thanking Dr. Sharik, said that creating a knowledge base with regard to Islamic banking is a good proposal which the University of Kashmir would like to take up.
We would like to create a knowledge base, and we are planning, inshallah, that in future we create such workshops in a more detailed manner, in a more structured manner, maybe a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days work, so that we create a formidable knowledge base over here, regarding Islamic banking and finance, because there are inputs coming from the business community, and there are so many inputs coming that we should have some Islamic banking institution, but university's role would be first of all to create a knowledge base.
Later, a question-answer session was held in which scholars, faculty members inquired about the topic. The two-day seminar of the Department of Education concluded in the memory of Maulana Azad, titled Education Reforms and Innovations, a Step to Change, concluded. Presenting the inaugural remarks, Professor Mahmood Ahmed Khan said that Maulana Azad was way ahead of his time.
Which at this time, Deller's report has highlighted among 4 pillars the one. That is, if it is learning to know, that usually we do in our classrooms, then learning to do, that usually in science departments is going on, and learning to be, that is actually man making. Where from I have come, where I have to go, what is the essence of my being in this world, why I am in this world. And the last pillar, which is learning to live together, Azad Sahab would also stress on that aspect while giving importance to moral education. And when he even negated the concept of two-nation theory, because for him, whole world is one, as we perceive him. Later on, whether there is a political debate, whether he was later on satisfied on that or not, but his perspective was that whole humanity is ours, therefore we should live in this world as a globalized citizen.
Dean Research Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi giving examples of various systems, and that in every system we see people who are there because they had no choice and as a result do not enjoy their work.
Now if I ask you a very small question, that how many of us are as a matter of choice in this profession? I believe none. That makes the difference between a US university and us. Charles Darwin spent 2 years learning medicine. I mean, settled medicine is something sought after profession in Kashmir. People do MBBS and other things. Charles Darwin also wasted 2 years, and that too in Edinburgh. Somehow he said that this medicine was not interesting me. And ultimately boarded a ship, SMS Beagle. The Beagle was supposed to make navigation maps for Britain. A professor recommended him to be placed on the ship. He was there, he moved around, found certain birds which had different beaks. Agreed. I mean, the size of the beaks of these birds was different. This struck him, and then he wrote ultimately the masterpiece, what's called as Evolution of Species. But he somehow succeeded when he pursued a line which interested him. We more often than not, we pursue a line which we are not interested in. We could be exceptionally brilliant in some other field, right? But somehow because of certain reasons we are in a different field. I wish I was, say, in this field, I would have done better. Issue is this, that people in US, Europe, they do what they enjoy doing. I mean, not this, that at times I also do that, isn't it? We want to realize our, say, unfulfilled dreams through our children. If I have not become a doctor, I want my child to be a doctor, not basically he or she to be doing good in life. To realize my dream of becoming a doctor, agreed? We trust certain things, and as a result of that, that novelty, that originality is not there.
Dean and Head of Department of Education, Professor Muhammad Iqbal Mattu, presented the concluding remarks of the seminar.
मैं डीन रिसर्च साहब से रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि हमें अपने दफ्तर की वसातत से एक इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस हम करना चाहते हैं इस डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से. इसमें मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है डीन साहब से कि इसमें ये हमें गाइड करें, ये हमें रहबरी करें, ताकि हम भी बाकी डिपार्टमेंट किस तरह, जैसे वहाँ भी साइंस कांग्रेस ने किया, बाकी डिपार्टमेंट भी इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस करते रहे, और बाकी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में इस किस्म के प्रोग्राम्स होते रहते हैं, लेकिन मेरी भी ख्वाहिश है ऑन बिहाफ माई फैकल्टी मेंबर्स आई रिक्वेस्ट डीन रिसर्च to help us, to guide us in making that event very, to support us, not guide us also, to guide as well as support us in making that conference.
On the occasion, a number of suggestions, recommendations were put forward before the Dean Research. Assistant Professor of Education Department, Mr. Manzoor Ahmed Rathar, conducted the proceedings of the function.
Since we do believe in a paradigm shift, we as concerned with education, teaching and practice, believe that we have left over the so-called banking system of education, whereby students were treated just knowledge containers, knowledge recipients, and these students would vomit out the same knowledge whenever needed during examinations.
The Department of Students' Welfare organized a social service camp for devotees on the occasion, the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The camp provided refreshment to the people visiting Hazrat Bal Shrine. Vice Chancellor Professor Talat Ahmed, Registrar Professor Nilafar Khan, Dean Students Welfare Professor Rais Ahmed Qadri were present on the occasion. The camp was installed near Sir Syed Gate and the university provided parking space for devotees as well. Officials from the Chief Proctor's office and other faculty members of different departments were also present. That's all for today's episode. Log on to our website emmrckashmir.com where you can check the latest episode of The Quest. You can also watch it on our YouTube channel, that is KU Television. Do send us your valuable suggestions at our email address, that is quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. When the heart speaks, the mind finds it indecent to object.